But it's also National Hurricane Preparedness Week. We are trying to just bring more awareness to you about a different subject each day. Today, our focus is storm surge. And the reason why we chose Sanibel Causeway is because this area was impacted by storm surge just last year, and not by a very powerful system. But some of the things that are working in our favor are going to be dry air interaction and then also friction with the land interaction. It's going to cross right on over areas like the Dominican Republic. The highest elevation there, Duarte Peak, it's over 10,000 feet, and the friction really isn't conducive for these tropical systems to really strengthen or kind of get their organization going. But I am so fired up by this. It is so wonderful. Of course, I have to get you out the door for the morning commute, though. So let's take a look at radar. Whether you are taking to the skies or maybe to the roadways, not a bad morning to get out. We are starting off dry. We have a couple of showers out in the Gulf. They are moving to the west and away from us in southwest Florida, so nothing to worry about for that morning commute. We have no rain on the radar from Naples, North Naples, Bonita Springs, into Cape Coral, even into DeSoto County. You can see our northern counties are also looking nice and dry. Also, temperature-wise, not too bad out here. The humidity is starting to kick up a little bit, but inland areas are closer to 70. Our coastal communities a degree or two warmer than that. A light breeze this morning over at Page Field. It's anywhere between about 3 and 6 miles per hour on and off all morning long out of the northeast east. And as we go through the rest of today, a mix of sun and clouds, but don't go anywhere. We have so much more fun stuff planned on Fox 4 Morning News.
I know, Lauren, all morning you've been telling us there are several systems you're watching, but there's one area we really need to keep our eye on because there are a few factors that are kind of steering it away from us, which we like to hear.
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of good news for us. I think a lot of people are focused on this area right closer to the Carolinas because it's so much closer to home. But the one I'm talking about this morning is going to be Invest 95L, so not a named storm yet, but you can see it's one of the 3 out in the tropics that is developing. The good news is you can see when we follow the latest computer models coming through here, it kind of interacts with a little bit of that wind shear. So the more intense wind shear, remember that's upper level winds moving quickly and in different directions, and tropical systems, they like calm winds. So the more wind shear, the better. The more intense wind shear right here represented by that yellow green color. And not only that, but right next to me you have the Bermuda High. It's well receded into the Atlantic, so you have this tropical system that's going to possibly start to curve because it's going to ride that ridge of high pressure. And the best case scenario is it stays away from us here in Florida and stays as a fish storm. Still plenty of time between then and now for things to change, but I would say with those 2 systems highlighted in red out in the tropics, we could probably have our 2 next named systems by the end of the weekend. That would be Odette and Peter. Remember, on the go, even when we're not on air, you can always get a check of the tropics at fox4now.com.
Obviously, the northern portions of our viewing area, so like the Charlotte County area,
Absolutely.
especially up to Tampa, we got to watch the water levels there as well. That's something you guys are keeping your eye on?
Yeah, there are a couple of specific rivers when it comes to the rainfall. If we see too much of it, they have the potential to flood. And I know we have a lot of people living along the rivers, and that's a huge concern for them. And that is something I am watching. I want you at home to know that we are, even though we're not expecting a major impact from Elsa. Taking a look at the Imperial River, Trent and I were there a couple of weeks ago. We spoke to some of you there. Flooding was a major problem, especially during Irma in the Bonita Springs area. At the moment, the river's only measuring up a little more than 3.5 feet. Last week, it was even higher. Its peak during Irma was actually 13 feet. Something else we're tracking besides all of that heat is going to be the rain for the morning. A lot of that has been sticking to coastal Collier County. Marco Island, actually, we just had your advisory, your aerial flood advisory dropped by the National Weather Service. So that's the good news for you. But we have some showers just to the south of you. I don't think they're going to quite reach you there. Gordon Drive just starting to dry out as well as those showers move closer to the Gulf and in North Naples. The rain really skirting the coast, not impacting you, but you could probably see it if you're taking a look outside. Rainfall totals over the past 6 hours or so. Parts of Marco Island pretty impressive, anywhere between 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches, depending on which gauge you're looking at. Nothing too crazy for Vanderbilt Beach Road. Looks like my meter not popping up, but it was about 1/2 inch or less, and that's about what we're seeing for Fort Myers as well. For today, our severe weather threat's pretty low when it comes to the wind. Lightning going to be at a moderate level. Hail and heat also not too much of a concern. The heat, though, if you're working out for a prolonged period of time, going to be a threat. But again, it's the lightning that's going to be registering the highest. And I do want to pinpoint a little bit where we're going to see maybe more of the most frequent and intense lightning. So this is our lightning tracker, and it looks like as you get closer to about 3 o'clock this afternoon, as those storms come through between about Palmdale, LaBelle, we're seeing some frequent lightning. The heavier pockets going to be up and down the I-75 corridor in Lee County, closer to Fort Myers and even Cape Coral. And then this is an even heavier pocket right here, going to be just east of Sarasota. As we go through the rest of the day, things do quiet down, and then it even looks like Saturday, a lot of that frequent and also more intense lightning lifts to the north of us. But you just heard from Trent, with the tropics really roaring by Sunday up and down the coast, you can expect lightning then too. So Trent, this is a time we just want to remind everyone, be cautious of the tropics, and also if you hear the thunder, stay indoors, right? You probably remember Hurricane Charlie. It did have a huge impact on our coastline, only bringing about 6.5 feet of storm surge. That's here. But now I want to go to an even more devastating hurricane. That would be Wilma when it went across parts of Mexico. Keep going, my friend. Keep going.
This was a bigger storm.
We've seen storm surge here, but we haven't seen something like this. This is 25 feet. The storm surge right off of the coast of Cancun coming in at 26 feet. Imagine this as a wave of water coming towards you. And that is why we are focusing on storm surge this morning. More on that and your local forecast coming up. Stick around. Here is our weather question of the morning.
Hi, I'm Max. Hi, I'm Logan. What are the clouds like?
It's actually a really good question, you guys. All right, so a lot of this really depends on a cloud's density. You can see we have some of these cirrus clouds here, some cumulus clouds. These are smaller clouds, actually. So when sunlight goes through a cloud, it reflects evenly off of all of the water droplets that make up a cloud, giving it that white look. As the sun goes through it, you can almost see a little bit of more the detail to a cloud. Well, as clouds vertically build, we get those thunderstorms like this cumulonimbus cloud. They're actually a lot denser, so the sunlight can't scatter through the entire cloud because it's just too dense. That's also why sometimes the tops of these clouds look a lot lighter than the bottom of those clouds. So it's a really simple answer. It has everything to do with how thick the cloud is and also how the light scatters. A good little experiment to do with the kids. Take a cotton ball, just one with a flashlight. You could see the light go through it a little bit easier. Now combine all of the cotton balls, and it's a little bit harder to see all the way through them because they are so thick. As we go through the rest of today, those numbers are just going to increase. So I wanted to compare those numbers to typically what those spots see this time of the year. So for example, Houston, on average, starting from January 1st to today's date, they typically see just a little more than 36 inches of rain. They're already above that. But Louisiana, 18 inches above their average. Typically, they only see about 43 inches of rain on this date in September, but they're already at almost 61 inches. Really incredible trend. And when we take a look at the data in our systems, it's kind of lagged, actually. You've been keeping your eye on social media, and the reports are showing even higher rainfall totals, if you can imagine.
Lauren, you got to do something pretty cool this weekend.
I did. I finished my open water dives for scuba certification. I took some GoPro video there. There is nothing gorgeous or graceful about being in a snorkel. I gotta tell you.
But you still look so cute. You pulled off so well.
Thank you. Yeah, so that was my husband who was with me, and then through here you could see all of us doing. This was over at Crystal River. That water, though, was freezing.
Cold, really?
73 degrees.
Wow.
And it wasn't very sunny out, so it didn't feel refreshing.
No. That's crazy because I was in Fort Myers Beach on Friday and the water felt like bath water.
Exactly. A huge difference, almost a 10-degree difference right now when it comes to the river there and then also the Gulf here. Like today, though, you would probably want to be in something that cool. Forecasting a high of 83 for today, and the almanac right before that showed you that the average high for this time of the year is 82. I know everyone, they don't want me to give the forecast right now. They want to see me get into this dunk tank, and I'm just delaying and delaying, hoping it fills up more. So let's get right to it. I'm going to toss it back to the rest of the anchors in there.
All right, so They're taking their shots now.
Oh no!
They didn't even throw one. She's such a trooper.
The big weather headline of today continues to be the temperatures. Right now, it's very comfortable outside after such a gorgeous afternoon. Currently 70 in Fort Myers, 68 in Punta Gorda, and 69 over in Bonita Springs, 70 for our inland areas. Very similar to last night. Temperatures will dip after the sun sets. It's going to cool down. Overnight lows going to be in the low 50s for most of us. So not as cool as last night, but still very chilly out there. Clouds and radar sweeping across nice and clear. So if you have any last-minute shopping plans you have to get out and take care of, don't worry, we're nice and dry. And that's all thanks to this area of high pressure. And with high pressure in place, when you put the models into motion, we're going to remain dry. As we head into your Christmas Eve, you can see by noon on your Friday a whole lot of nothing happening across really the entire state. And as we get closer to your Saturday, the wind starting to come more out of the south-southeast, and it's staying sunny, but the humidity will slightly start to tick up, and it's going to be a little bit warmer as well. So for tonight, again, the big weather headline going to be overnight lows in the low 50s. And then, of course, we move into your holiday weekend, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So for your Friday, a high of 78. A lot of people probably want to get out on the boat. Finally, those boating conditions a lot better than what we've seen for the past several days. Your Ingman Marine boating forecast shows the wind out of the northeast at about 10 knots, seas 2 feet or less, and a light chop on the inland water. So if you want to get out tomorrow, definitely a safe day to do it. For your Christmas Eve into your Christmas Day, overnight lows going to drop into the mid 50s. So if you're like me and you like to eat your Christmas Eve dinner outside, definitely grab a jacket. So for your Saturday on your Christmas Day, again, going to be absolutely gorgeous. If we could get up, maybe this little graphic here and I can show you, we're forecasting a high of 79. Rain chances 0. We're not expecting anything in the way of rainfall. And that warming trend does continue as we head through the rest of your weekend and into your early work week. Highs quickly going to rise into the mid 80s by your mid work week. I'm going to spotlight a couple of other animals throughout the morning, but I want to give you a check of the forecast for tomorrow's event. So taking a look here, very similar to today, going to be another hot one. So if you're headed out here tomorrow, highs will rapidly rise to the low to mid 90s. Here in Punta Gorda, it will be slightly cooler, closer to 91, 92 degrees. Before we can get to all of the fun on Saturday, got to get you out the door and give you a check of the radar. Right now, it is dry, a little muggy and humid out there. Taking a look at live radar, you can see from Collier County through Cape Coral into Punta Gorda, things are nice and dry. Just a couple of showers out in the Gulf. It is muggy with a couple of areas already reaching 80 degrees. The rest of us mostly in the upper 70s. The wind primarily out of the east, but it's light, so don't depend on that breeze to cool you down. Typically this time of the year, we are close to 92 degrees. When you take a look at the almanac, overnight temperatures are closer to 75. And as we go through today, it's just like yesterday, another scorcher trend. We're going to see those highs close to 94 degrees and really just an isolated storm chance here and there. So not a lot of rain to cool us down. And it's early and I'm feeling the heat already.
I bet.